most interesting thing you have seen in the real estate market right now?
So most interesting thing in the market right now is that we are in that zone for once. And I think buyers are back in the commanding position after a long period where they were not.
So if you wanted to buy a 1 BHK in Mumbai, you would have to buy a old apartment. There's no new apartment to buy.
See, 2 BHKs, everybody is now trying to cater to their family. Okay. 1 BHK, your margin typically is also lesser, though your volumes are better.
Do you have a count of how many flats are coming up in central Mumbai that are ultra luxury?
So ultra luxury in central Mumbai is not as much now because that was 2012 to 2020, like you said, right? When all these guys, mill lands opened up. Now a lot of luxury is actually coming up in, the most amount of luxury actually is coming up in Bandra-Khar-Santa Cruz. They have essentially two criteria that tell me when a city is failing. One, if you see the rise of private townships.
Yeah.
Okay, private mini cities built by builders. Two is the rise of micro cities. If both exist now, assume you are staying in a failed city. There's a rule that specifies on most occasions if you are doing a development on 1 acre of a plot,
That you have to,
give a certain amount of land to the BMC under the RG, which is recreation ground. Okay. So there should be a lot of gardens.
Yeah.
You should never leave property
Unattended.
never. Be it land, apartments, commercial, anything. Because it's such a valuable asset that very soon somebody is out to grab it. If you just go below the tier 1 now, we'll see many vulnerable projects. Gurgaon will be the most fun though.
Yeah.
It will be the most fun. I think we'll see many. I think Gurgaon is one step away from a scandal.
We no longer live in joint families and we are very social creatures. Eventually, that building society becomes your extended family. Then who forms that community becomes really important. And I know
So community is the best amenity.
very well said. Someone will put that in a real estate ad.
I can totally see that.
Okay, so this is an experiment. It's unlike any of the other podcasts we've done. Vishal is a former colleague and a friend who has given up stock market to track real estate as a journalist.
Yes, indeed. left the intriguing world of stock markets to get into the even more intriguing world of real estate.
Yes, but what is your CAGR if you compare the two? Stock market return versus real estate return, that you've decided to switch beats. And I've always loved the real estate market. I was a real estate reporter as well, at one point as well. So I thought we should get together and get some chai, coffee as the case may be. And I want to know, so you've spent a lot of time actually tracking, right? And I know that our audience is interested also. So I want to know what you found on the ground across all of our markets. तो पहले आप ये बताइए, most interesting thing you have seen in the real estate market right now?
So most interesting thing in the market right now is that we are in that zone for once. And I think buyers are back in the commanding position after a long period where they were not. Okay.
So it's a buyer's market. Is this only Mumbai or this is across the board?
So this is in Mumbai to a large extent. Pan India, I think every city has its own dynamic. Mumbai is at that stage where, I call it that BMC gave a lollipop to builders in 2021. Okay, they gave a sweetener. और अभी सबको diabetes हो रहा है. Okay, so in that desire, when they gave the lollipop of the FSI discount, everybody jumped in कि project उठा लेते हैं. सब लोग ने उठा लिया. वो discount चले गया. But that exuberance remained. Okay. Now since 2024, I think everybody is realizing that have they bitten off more than they can chew. मैंने 5 project ले लिए, पर उस 5 project के लिए buyer है कि नहीं.
और सारे project luxury के बन रहे हैं.
ये luxury का problem क्या है ना, सब builder का एक, my pinnacle of my dream is मुझे एक luxury project करना है.
वो Manhattan वाला dream which everybody harbors,
खुद
right?
को एक बुर्ज खलीफा करना है.
हाँ.
Now people who have tried to do these Burj Khalifas, many of them have gone bankrupt. So Burj Khalifa also, definitely, it got bankrupt temporarily. It got funding from the Sheikh who named it Khalifa. So यहाँ पे people have gone ambition to do luxury. The luxury buyer is a very fickle buyer. Too many people are approaching him. He's saying इतना माल मेरे पास है देखने के लिए. Rates are not very attractive. Why should I buy?
Yeah.
So we are right now at that logjam where I think it's come like a shock to many builders that I'm doing 5 projects and all 5 are struggling. If you were doing 5 projects and 2 were struggling and 3 were doing well.
No, but Vishal, I remember reading, when I was tracking real estate, I remember reading this article that Central Mumbai, obviously Central Mumbai has changed completely, looks completely different. Central Mumbai में इतने सारे luxury buildings बन रहे हैं कि इतने सारे millionaires तो है ही नहीं city में खरीदने के लिए. Like if one crorepati bought one flat, we don't have enough crorepati's to buy all the flats. Was the calculation back then? It's a slightly flawed calculation क्योंकि थोड़े ऐसे भी crorepati हैं जो मतलब 10 flats खरीद सकते हैं. But they've not bought. But what I find interesting is, has that then made the entire Mumbai market sluggish? Why are the suburbs sluggish?
So, okay.
क्योंकि 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crore की flats क्यों नहीं बिक रही फिर?
Who actually, if you look at it, the segment that is still doing okay comparatively is that sub 2 crore segment. Okay. The one is ultra luxury. Okay. The ultra luxuries, I'm talking 50 crores plus. Those are still doing okay. That's doing the best performance. So, ultra luxury is doing well. Luxury is struggling. Premium is struggling. The 1 crore segment has been dead for a very long time. ठीक है, वो जो बोलते हैं affordable housing, that has been dead for a very long time.
Affordable housing तो कोई बना नहीं रहे. There was this other article I read recently that 1 room kitchen or 1 BHK, they have stopped making in Mumbai for the first time in Mumbai's history. Nobody is making 1 bedroom houses in this city.
So, so I think it's factually correct.
1
BHKs have dried up. Okay.
So if you wanted to buy a 1 BHK in Mumbai, you would have to buy a old apartment. There's no new apartment to buy.
See, 2 BHKs, everybody is now trying to cater to their family. 1 BHK, your margin typically is also lesser, though your volumes are better. So people are thinking कि 1 BHK का gentry बैठेगा कि नहीं. And I think builders have become very sophisticated in one thought process that let's have a project where home sizes are not very different. 1 BHK and 4 BHK public cannot coexist.
Okay.
Because their mindset towards finance, amenities is very different. Now, I'm not saying which is right.
How much you can charge for maintenance, how much you can spend on the swimming pool, that sort of thing.
The 4 BHK guy, uske paas, he wants more services, right? He will come and say, let's have a valet service for my parking. The 1 BHK guy will say, अरे boss, ये जो छोटा सा जगह यहाँ पे है, उसको एक grocery store को lease कर देंगे. So I think there is that difference in mindset. Nobody is right, nobody is wrong, but that compatibility is not there. 1 BHKs will make a comeback. That I'm sure of. Because when demand slows down, builders go back to ticket sizes. So instead of reducing my price, I'll reduce the size of my home. And everybody is now intelligent enough to design their houses currently, which are like 2 BHKs.
And then they do jodi.
And they split it to make it 1 BHK, 1 BHK. Or 3 BHK makes it shorter. So in fact, one builder told me one very good line. Vishal, Mumbai is the only market which moves from affordable housing to luxury and vice versa in one cycle. I started with the intent to do 1 floor, 1 apartment. 4 BHK, 20 crores. Okay? 1 apartment per floor, 20 crores is the cost. वो बिकता नहीं है in the market. Then I divide that thing into 4 apartments and make it 5 crore each. वो बिक जाता है. So then I go back to ticket size, which was the game before COVID.
Yeah.
So I think we'll get back to that stage now as demand slackens and prices start to get impacted. I think we are still in this year where a good chunk of builders will remain in denial. Okay? They will say, nahi, market pick up ho jayega, let's not throw the panic button. Many will sense the reality and
they will change they will modify that. So let me just broaden the question. If we look right now, I think personally from what I'm tracking, the most interesting property markets are Gurgaon, Bangalore and Mumbai. Because these are the cities also, and if with the respect, with the permission of the people who live in Delhi, I'll treat Gurgaon like a separate city, right? These are also the cities where there is enough economic activity to still pull people, to still have people upgrade their apartments. And I don't know if the other cities are able to keep up that much. So if you were to right now, if I were to give you a fund and say, go out and invest, and there's Gurgaon, there's Bangalore, there's Mumbai, where would you invest your money? Purely as an investor.
I would invest actually not in apartments, I would invest in land, but in the outskirts of these cities. I think land is an opportunity. of course, land priced right, buying it, doing the necessary due diligence, etc., etc. I think land is an opportunity more than apartments. See, apartments now, the game has become so public that it's very tough to make money as an investor in apartments. Okay, you have to really hope for a builder to throw a panic button who is credible enough to even complete the project. Many will throw the panic button. So I think the opportunity is more in land than in apartments. If you were to tell me that Ash kar le, like you said, huh? So the real place I would like to gamble in a way would be a market in NCR.
Okay.
ठीक है? Because see, NCR is such a speculative market, no? If you ride the cycle and you're lucky, you can make a lot of money.
But if you're not lucky?
That's just a gamble. It's a gamble. Okay. So like if you look at it, right now, amongst all the markets, the big markets, property prices in NCR have risen the highest.
So hang on. So we're looking at, I think, NCR, Bangalore, Ahmedabad have done double digits. Correct? And the rest are all in single digits. The lowest, by the way, is Kolkata, Hyderabad.
See, Hyderabad actually had a very good run because of which oversupply has caught up with it and now it's taken off. But Hyderabad gained a lot after COVID.
I love Hyderabad, by the way. In terms of quality of life, I think Hyderabad has so much to offer.
It's value for money, no?
Really value for money. The kind of construction that has come around its whole high-tech city area, the whole secret lake that's not a secret anymore, the Durgam Cheru, there's some really beautiful apartments that have been built. They're at great value, and Hyderabad is still not, like, it's not choking. A lot of the other cities are choking. So
I think I agree with you. Hyderabad, in terms of all the major cities, is still the one which is the most value for money.
yeah.
Bangalore has challenges. Gurgaon has, each one has different challenges.
Yeah.
But see, I'll tell you what. I know Bangalore, a lot of people say कि बहुत बढ़िया है, you know. But when I compare to other cities, there's still
क्या बढ़ गया? Price या traffic?
traffic तो बहुत बढ़ गया है. ठीक है. I'll put it this way. Traffic has risen 4x, prices have risen 2x. So
Because I feel like Bangalore still, and I grew up in Bangalore, right? But my Bangalore doesn't exist anymore. It's gone.
you are in which part?
So I grew up in the Coxtown, Frasertown area, which is like this really sweet, quaint part of the city. But it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. It's in my imagination. That's all. I have made my peace with the fact that Bangalore doesn't exist anymore. But I do feel that Bangalore has so much quality land on all four directions to keep expanding without an adequate plan. And that is why there will always be supply in that market.
I think Bangalore is best positioned for one simple reason is that one, the quality of developers I think are much better in Bangalore than others. But you know, as cities fail, people then go to private builders to become the municipality.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, very well said, actually. True.
So, like in Mumbai also, which are the projects that actually do very well and charge obscene premium? Ones where you can stay and not feel that Mumbai exists.
You're in a gated community and you've got your private builder has provided you with all the amenities that you need.
So, in Mumbai, you have the limitation, there are not too many parcels over here. Bangalore does not have a disadvantage, neither does Gurgaon or Noida. So, you'll see private builders become the municipality.
Yeah.
They will charge a premium, obviously.
This whole Adarsh living, it's really, I mean, Bangalore has never seen that kind of construction. So I understand how they are able to charge that premium. I don't know how they're going to keep the lake water out because they're building, many of these new constructions are coming up where lakes used to be. And I think the really interesting thing about Bangalore from a real estate point of view, premium real estate point of view, is that you have to look at where they're building. When you buy, you have to know whether this is a lake bed or this was a lake bed or not, because that will impact your quality of life. Secondly, nothing that has been built in Bangalore after 2010 has a municipal water connection.
Okay. Wow.
And it behoves me in Bangalore that people do not know this. So we call it Kaveri water. There is a limit to how much Kaveri water you can get because the two states are fighting over it. So that's the first thing you should know about Bangalore. Secondly, if you don't get Kaveri water, you're getting hard water, which is your borewell water, which is also running out because everybody now is either drilling a borewell or bringing from tanker, which is also borewell water. which is why everybody's hair is falling out in Bangalore because that's our water. So there's a serious water problem looming in Bangalore that people don't realize. And consider what Bangalore looked like at 2010 and what it looks like now. And so your entire Whitefield, Brookfield, all of those massive buildings, the office buildings, none of them have water supply from the municipality. तो पानी कहाँ से आ रहा है? What is the quality of that water and when will it run out? Because you have the money to buy the water, which is what everybody is doing. But that's not sustainable.
I think Indian cities have a speciality, that thoda sa paisa dig gaya na, they think of the city as only real estate.
Yes. But sorry, I interrupted you. You were saying that you believe that there is value in the Bangalore market?
I still think there is value in the Bangalore market. See, which are the cities that are growing? Okay. I mean, in terms of jobs, not in terms of municipal governance. I think Bangalore is still high on that table. Okay. Gurgaon also is high. Mumbai is clearly slackened, but it's slackened for a while. But it has intrinsically so much demand at a stationary level also. You don't need as much demand from outside to come in to sustain. So I think Bangalore will sustain price points. See, just look at it this way. Rentals of Bangalore and Gurgaon are almost the same. But
capital values are completely different.
Capital value of Gurgaon is 30% higher.
So the rental yield for the chap in Gurgaon who has bought and is renting it out is actually much lower.
But the thing in Gurgaon is that he's not playing for the rental yield at all in Gurgaon. Because unlike Mumbai, where you book a property, you register it. Wahan pe it's... So NCR is like the F&O market.
Yeah.
Maine aaj book kiya, I've taken a house.
You've not even registered it?
Allotment letter mila. First transfer.
Taxi nahi hai.
First transfer free. मेरे को authority builder देता है. 6 months, I buy for 1 crore. 6 months later, if the price rises to 1.2 crore, I can sell it to Faye like this.
And just take that 2 crore.
More
But like all of the newbies in the F&O market are realizing that not everything is rosy. And so now you're holding a 1.2 without the ability to pay for that 1.2. And it is now 80.
That is when the cookie crumbles.
Yes.
So
what stage is Gurgaon at right now? Is it at 1.2 becoming 1.4 or is it 1.2 becoming 80?
No, 1.2 I think has become 1 already. So till 1 I think it is not panic. मैंने 1 crore का लिया था 1 crore का बेच सकता हूँ मैं. The moment it becomes 1 crore becomes even 95 lakhs. Then it starts crumbling. 80 it's finished.
Because effectively what you're doing is some builder has launched. You've gone and bought in that at 10% you've picked it up. You paid basically token amount. And you're saying that by the time the next slab comes, the next payment is due, I will sell it. But if the price falls, you can't sell it, then you're stuck. You would due a payment, how will you do it?
So see, this model is very good to create FOMO. Builder बोल देता है एक दिन पे.
But hang on, wasn't RERA brought in to specifically prevent this? How have they not prevented?
See, RERA tells you if you pay 10%, you have to register.
Yes.
Now, obviously, the system has found its way. And the only people who actually adhere to this is Mumbai. Okay?
Bangalore में भी होता है ना?
Bangalore में you pay the stamp duty at possession. There is a sale deed and a sale agreement. Okay? And there's a difference. And you pay it. That's why a guy who buys now, he doesn't pay stamp duty in Bangalore on day 1. But Faye and Vishal will. In one way, if you ask me, it's a good thing. In like Bangalore or Gurgaon, they don't pay stamp duty on day 1.
Because technically you should only pay tax on a house when you're about to live in it.
See the situation or diagram in Bombay, I've paid for a house. I've paid stamp duty. Ghar atak gaya. Government has got its money. Builder has got his money. But I'm
nobody is incentivized to fight for you other than you. Broker has taken his money. Everybody has taken his money.
Broker ने ले लिया. Home loan वाले ने home loan दे दिया. सब लोग have made the money. Okay. That's why I genuinely believe that being a home buyer is the loneliest phase for anyone. You are completely alone. You are like in the Chakravyuh. Then you have to decide whether Abhimanyu ya whether you're that or no. You get trapped in a Chakravyuh or no. So, and invariably there are too many first home buyers who fall for it. So we see new scams, new victims, but same tricks. But to the point of Bangalore, Gurgaon, I see Gurgaon being the most vulnerable. Okay? With this intense speculation there. Wahan pe to everybody is in the hurry to just announce. First day sold out. सब लोग खड़े हो जाओ यहाँ पे, have to take a
Take a
picture.
photo.
Photo लेना है.
जो पेपर में छपेगा, people standing in line.
And people keep saying then, "Arey, but these don't look like families." Then the counter argument from the punters and this, "Arey, but families will not wait, they're the brokers." I said, okay, but when will I see the family? I want to see the family. So see, it's the same guys who take a punt on 5 projects. जहाँ पे मिला, it's good enough.
What I find really interesting is that 2016 में one balloon in Gurgaon, Greater Noida went up like this. Are you telling me the people have like gone again?
Yes. And I think in a bigger way. In a bigger way.
Like I remember spending a lot of time as when we were running the channel on this super tech has not come, this has not come, यहाँ पे arrest हुआ है, वहाँ पे arrest हुआ है, ये promoter को उठा लिया, police ने, people have filed police complaint, nobody got their money back.
True. See, the thing is, people have short memories. And I think at some point, we have to give, I won't say credit or discredit, is that once that hawa comes, is created, it's very tough for a ordinary person to resist. Arey, rates will rise 6 months ke baad, 3 months ke baad. You go and put in the money.
And then you're stuck.
I think, but right after a certain point, everybody sees through it. See, now I think we've reached that situation where, okay, just for example, I went to a project in Golf Course Road in Gurgaon. So, वहाँ पे तो they say everything in super built up area. वहाँ पे carpet area does not exist.
Yeah.
Okay. तो मैं वहाँ पे गया, ऐसे क्या है रेट यहाँ का? तो उसने बोला 35,000 per square feet. So, I said, okay, carpet पे.
Carpet नहीं होता है.
Very super area. But he figured out I'm a guy from Bombay. So he said, sir, Bombay का public ऐसा
People, yeah, because the actual nomenclature of a real estate deal changes from city to city.
So the moment I said 35,000, I said, okay, if I put it on carpet, कितना होगा? He gave me some calculation, which came to be 55,000 rupees per square feet for a under construction project, not DLF. Okay. So I told him, this is equal to Mumbai का lower parel, which is ready. So he said, हाँ sir, पर ये बढ़ेगा, this, that and all. I said, then it's okay.
55,000 से कहाँ बढ़ेगा?
So hawa.
Yeah.
So I said, ठीक है, then I think I may as well invest money in Mumbai only, ये rate पे. But you come to think of it, the first cycle, builder sells off all the units to the brokers. He claims victory. I have sold out. Then the fight is with broker and the buyer. When the broker starts feeling the heat, is when things can really start crashing, and then he has to go back to the builder. Okay, boss, the commitment I gave to you,
it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. Now let's find a workaround. The big problem is that the guys who have bought from the broker, if the deal doesn't materialize or the builder says I don't have enough money, then the project stalls again. So I think Gurgaon is at that risk. Bangalore is stable. Bangalore, one thing I like about them is prices they go up double also na. कोई चिल्लाता नहीं है. They like to be very silent about it, not shout, double, triple.
Yeah.
मतलब गुड़गांव में 50% बढ़ेगा, they say it's gonna 3x.
Yeah, but the Bangalore audience tends to be Bangalore audience tends to be largely salaried. Well salaried, or salaried on the very higher end, but still salaried. So a lot of it is not cash. A lot of it is actually going through the banks. It tends to be different in Hyderabad. It tends to be different in like the NCR region, where there is a lot of, it's not necessarily salaried audience. So they're moving windfall profits. I'm being very polite. But what I do find really interesting, coming back to the Mumbai market, is how much of Mumbai's face is going to change in the next few years because Dharavi redevelopment, Bandra reclamation construction. Tell me what's been allotted to whom and what's changing.
So see, I think the two big players who are now going to, in a way, reshape Mumbai real estate are Adani and Prestige. Okay. So Adani is, I think, he's positioned himself to be the top Mumbai real estate player by 2030.
Yeah.
He's got Dharavi.
Yes.
550 acres. He's got a 25-acre plot at Bandra reclamation facing the sea.
That's 25 acres?
25 acres.
Doesn't look like 25 acres from the road, no?
Yeah, because it's very deep.
Yeah.
Right. So it's prime land. Okay. In fact, if you ask me, that is probably one of the best plots of India because because you have everything going for you. Okay, think of it this way. One is title is clear. Two,
because it's MMRDA land.
MSRDC. So there's no issue of redevelopment. It's open, clean land. Third, seafront. Then people will say, हाँ वो तो ठीक है पर वो bandstand में भी है, Carter Road पे भी है. But bandstand Carter Road, to get inside it takes 30 minutes.
Yeah.
इसका connectivity is superb.
Yes.
So this is like a flawless plot,
Yeah.
if you ask me. He's got that. He's got the Motilal Langar at Goregaon, which is 140-145 acres.
Air India Colony.
Air India Colony. So he's positioned himself very clearly to be a top player.
And do you think that all of this is going to be luxury?
No, I don't think so. I think it'll be. If I was in his shoes,
I would think reclamation would be luxury, ultra luxury, because if one would imagine, I'm not going to say if it were me, but one would imagine that if you had that plot of land, that you would just make skyline to rival the lower parent skyline.
so there
Do
is.
they have enough FSI to make skyline?
So there's a barrier there in terms of the airport.
As of today's newspaper, they're changing that.
So see, that's the googly. Okay.
Oh.
If that happens, then
Okay, so to just explain to our audience, right? So the land that we're talking about is when you drive down reclamation on your way to the sea link. There's sea on one side. On the other side is where they used the space to make the prefab blocks for the sea link. Now that the sea link is done, has been for several years, now that land has been made available and it's been allotted to the Adani developers to build. And because unlike other cities, Mumbai's airport has been in the heart of the city, there is what they call a funnel around it, where because the flight is landing, your buildings cannot be very tall. That is likely to change. I'm not sure how though, but how will they work the math on that?
So I don't know how you work the math on this, but I'll put it this way: that these are you need strong persuasive skills to make it happen. Okay, and
That is the most polite way to say that.
no, okay. So see, there are.
Highly persuasive skills.
So the thing is, see, people get exceptions. If I was a betting man, I would believe if anybody can get that height limit, it'll be Adani. Okay. For most people, it's inconceivable to even think about it.
Yes.
He can do it.
Which most Mumbai developers, the ones, the born and raised in Mumbai developers have been trying for decades.
True. So Lodha tried it
Yeah.
with World Towers when he wanted to do the 117th floor building.
Oh, the funnel was the problem for World Towers?
Yeah, that was one of the problems as well for him.
Okay.
There's the issue of 360 West, Oberoi 360 West. The name was 360 to go up to 360 meters. He couldn't go there. So there have been challenges for players. But like I said, in that sort of a plot, it'll get its true justice by going tall. Okay?
Yes.
Restrictions today exist. They can change, and I will bet that one of the strongest contenders to make that happen can be Adani. Then the other player is Prestige, who's doing a lot of work.
From Bangalore, very interesting. That is now in Bombay.
See, if you look at it, actually, many players from outside Mumbai are coming to Mumbai. So Prestige is the front runner clearly, but the others like Purvankara, there's DLF that's coming in now. So Prestige, I think, found a very good strategy by tying up with a local heavyweight who knows land very well, DB Realty. So most of the plots are with him in prime locations. And I think Prestige has done some of the fastest construction I've ever seen. You know, at the two projects I've seen of theirs which are underway. One is the one at Baikal and one is at Mulund. They've come to note.
No, there's also one in BKC.
Commercial.
Right, yeah, that's a commercial listing. There's one coming up opposite this, across the street from Famous Studios.
That's also commercial.
That's also commercials?
Where there'll be buildings, probably one of the most premium office buildings, 60 floors plus.
Do you have a count of how many flats are coming up in central Mumbai that are ultra luxury?
So ultra luxury in central Mumbai is not as much now because that was 2012 to 2020, like you said, right? When all these guys, mill lands opened up. Now a lot of luxury is actually coming up in, the most amount of luxury actually is coming up in Bandra-Khar-Santa Cruz. It is basically guys who are redeveloping.
Huh.
And in the redevelopment, they're trying to create luxury in
Pockets.
at every premium location, or what they believe is premium, people are going to make luxury there. So, because for a long time, talking about rules, the CRZ had blocked construction of properties at the seafront, which is why Carter Road buildings, Bandstand buildings and
All look the same.
all look the same at a very small height. Then the CRZ coastal regulation zone norms got liberalized. Now you can go taller. So the entire thing is opened up for redevelopment. It will be luxury only. Where I think you will see properties of 100 crore will be pretty common in my view.
Like, I remember when Soho House opened on Juhu Beach. And Soho House has that rooftop with the pool. And, it's got that other restaurant where you can see the beach. And when you stand there, you realize that this is the first building that has given you a 6th floor up view of that beach. Because up till then, everything was on ground plus one. So you never got a sort of top-down view of the beach.
Good point, actually.
Yeah, and so suddenly I was like, how have I never seen this before? And I realized nobody was allowed to go up that high. This was the first building. I'm assuming more will happen now.
No, a lot. Entire landscape around the coast
Will change.
will change within the 5 years.
So, again, this is something else I read about Mumbai that I found really interesting. So, unlike other big cities that have beaches or waterfronts, Mumbai has no access to private beach or no beach restaurants or no beach sort of promenades per se, where people, you have restaurants where people sit and eat and why? Because Mumbai still pumps a large portion of its untreated sewage into the ocean. So people want to be able to see the water, but nobody actually wants to be near the water. So ultra luxury is always beach view, but not beach front.
So basically, I think that's actually a pretty interesting angle because so you want to see the sea.
You want to be able to see, मतलब दूर से दिखाओ. Glass, I don't want to smell it. I want to see it.
So there is sea view, there is sea front, and they're right at the sea. You don't want to be at the sea.
Nobody wants to be at the sea. Because see, look at all of the other cities, right? They have areas where you can go to the beach, you can come back, you can sit at a restaurant. There are bars or nightclubs at the restaurant. I mean, look at what Dubai has achieved. For most cities, most big cities, what say, for example, a Sydney does. We don't do it because nobody has ever attempted to clean the ocean.
Yeah, so I mean, right now, just when I often make a distinction between sea view and sea facing. Sea view in Mumbai is everything, right?
Yeah.
क्योंकि हर किसी के घर से बाथरूम से बालकनी से
इतना सा दिखता है.
हाँ वो थोड़ा साइड एंगल मिल जाता है ठीक है. Some of them say not even sea view, sea link view. When you're really far ना sea link का view है. No.
I mean now they opened the eastern front, right? So वहाँ से दिख रहा है आपको Port Trust दिखेगा.
So I think the next step in this battle will be the eastern front, which is untapped, courtesy Bombay Port Trust. There I think development will happen. I hope they don't mess it up like the Millland episode.
There used to be a point where Nitin Gadkari was in charge of that ministry as well. Is he still in charge of ports? No, but he was talking about it. He was talking about opening up a lot of that land. I don't know if that plan is still...
He had a very good plan actually to create a marine drive on the other side.
Yes.
Which is phenomenal if you think of it, because around marine drives...
There's no reason why not.
No reason.
Yeah.
It's just that we have to, I think, find a way to not fall into the trap of greed. The thing is...
I think you're about 40 years late.
No, actually, what? Okay.
That's it. Whoever has spoken about Mumbai's real estate and said we should not be greedy in the same sentence.
Tati, what? You should be... Okay, I put it this way. If you want to be greedy, be big greedy. Okay? Don't be small greedy. You'll make a lot of money if you get that goddamn marine drive done, and then you can milk that entire property around it. Like it's happened with our front, right? Worli Sea Phase 2. In case if Worli Sea Phase did not exist, just think of it this way. What value would it have? So you need to create that one ornament, like the Queen's necklace, around which everything comes. But there are actually, I can't spell it out, but there are ways. I think there are ways to make money by even thinking medium term, not long term, by thinking medium term and making a lot more money. And there are leaders and politicians who have done that very well.
Yeah.
Where everybody is gained. Okay. I don't see, the thing is...
The plan to make Navi Mumbai, the plan for Thane. These were all marquee, massive, change the way we live sort of plans, right?
If you Navi Mumbai now also.
Farm Beach Road.
Farm Beach. Yeah. We built a trans harbour. Okay. Now everybody thought game changer. Kuch nahi hua. Because you forgot one key element within it.
Which is?
You forgot mass transport to take you along that way. Now people have to take road transport, which is very expensive. If you had created a thing of mass transport along that, a railway line, like it is there on the side of Vashi, right? Then suddenly the entire Navi Mumbai market opens up for people to stay there.
But Nobody wants that, na? Because then your island prices will crash. Abhi itna आप बना रहे हो central Mumbai में. You open up the mainland. You can build all the way till Orissa. Who will stop you? Right? Because we have land hai वहाँ पे.
But there's more money today in Navi Mumbai than Mumbai. See, because one is virgin. Here you'll make money. But Mumbai has a lot of value per square meter. But in terms of sheer volume of land, Navi Mumbai is virgin. You play the big game, no? Everybody will make more money in Navi Mumbai than Mumbai. If you play the big game. And the simplest step actually would have been, and this was actually part of the plan, when they were first starting to do it.
Yeah.
Trans was 40-50 years back. I think JRD Tata was heading it. That plan. The deal was that along with the road, you will do rail as well. Then people start shifting to Navi Mumbai.
Yeah.
That never happened, right? Even for Thane. It's such a big area. How many stations does it have? One. One railway station. Everybody who's staying in those fancy townships is away from the station.
Abhi metro ban raha hai na.
हाँ, जब बनेगा ना. But you have these townships have come up in the last 15 years. Yeah. Each one has 1,000 apartments. All of them are away from the station. Yeah. And then people say congestion. Obviously, it'll be congested. Like railway line, the first one I think was 1860s. You think of it, and that was connecting CST with Kalyan. You have to means I'm not a whatever nationalist or whatever in that way, so I'm pretty practical. But you got to give credit, right? 1860s to have that vision to connect main Victoria terminus with Kalyan.
But if you look at now the face of Mumbai changing with the coastal road. This is what it looks like, right? The coastal road. I mean, it's stunning. It's a stunning project. Very expensive project. Very stunning project. How will it change, the way we live our lives? Because it's still a private car moving. So, it's not mass transport in the sense that you don't have busways just like moving people. Does it change the economy of the city that much? Because at the end of the day, your CBD is now BKC. It's not touching BKC from anywhere. So how does it change the way people move and work? I'm not so sure.
See, it's coastal road. It's a lovely road, rest of it. But it's more style than substance.
Because it's allowing people from Bandra to go to Burli, from Burli to go to town, from town to come back to Burli.
It's a trophy.
Yeah.
And it's a very stunning trophy to show people.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like the Burj Khalifa of this area. You want to show Mumbai and its glamour? This is it. Okay. Utility will never be too much at a city level because it's car centric.
Yeah.
It's got limited exits. So
and everywhere there is an exit, there will be a new traffic jam. But let's talk about the fact that people from Malad will be able to come to Worli in say 20 minutes.
So what? I mean, the thing is, you want to be. See, I think again the good thing about municipal failure is that people create micro cities. मैं अंधेरी में रहता हूँ, अंधेरी में काम करता हूँ. My entire life is अंधेरी. Rest of Mumbai does not exist for me. Yeah. So people have made the peace with it. Unlike other cities, the people say, I'll stay far away and I'll travel to the CBD. We don't have one CBD.
But nahi hota na. Like for example, in a Bangalore or in a Hyderabad, Whitefield lives in Whitefield, works in Whitefield, parties in Whitefield, goes to school in Whitefield. Done. और कहीं नहीं जाना है.
Every failed city, people will create micro cities. So the symbol, I think they have essentially two criteria that tell me when a city is failing. One, if you see the rise of private townships.
Yeah.
Okay, private mini cities built by builders. Two is the rise of micro cities. If both exist now, assume you are staying in a failed city. Because then the city does not exist. People are paying to not see the city.
Yeah. Ideally, every 2 blocks or I think 10 minutes walk, you should have a little park where your kids can play. Open park where your kids can play. And play means they can kick a ball, they can run, they can fall, they can scream, without annoying anybody. And very quickly, our cities are running out of these spaces. All of them. And this is across the board. And that should, these all impact quality of life.
So, they are actually rules. Means a lot of people don't pay attention to it. But there's a rule that specifies on most occasions, if you are doing a development on 1 acre of a plot,
that you have to
give a certain amount of land to the BMC under the RG, which is recreation ground. Okay. So there should be a lot of gardens.
Yeah.
Somehow because I think people are not paying attention, so they don't fight for it. Or there's some underhand deal between the municipal official, the corporator, the politician, the builder, whatever.
Or it winds up being this sliver like this with 3 bushes on it, which doesn't amount to anything. It's not of quality to anything.
Like Faye and Vishal can't take a walk, a circular walk there. One line here, one line there. So, in our plans, in fact, I've been trying to do some work on this to know what is the amount of gardens we have built in the last 15 years versus the amount of square feet that we built. I'll not be surprised. Our gardens have gone down, not gone up.
Yeah.
Not gone up a lot. Also, not gone up a little bit. Actually, gone down. And our open spaces, the solution that they found was a pretty cosmetic one. We'll raise open spaces by changing the definition of open spaces. So Mumbai open spaces today, when I walk out of your office here, the green patch between the road divider is considered as open spaces. A terrace garden is considered as open spaces. Mangroves are considered as open spaces.
But none of these spaces are accessible to the average citizen, right?
They aren't open space, but they just want to show that we have so much open spaces.
Huh.
They're not open space. You can't use them. Otherwise, if you take it down, today Mumbai has the lowest open space per individual in the world.
No doubt.
So, like, I think it's 1 square kilometer, about 1 square meter, sorry. That's 10 square feet. So, 1.5 Vishals. Open space for 1 Vishal. That's unthinkable, right?
It's unthinkable. Yeah. So, the answer to this question changes every 4 years when the stock market enters a different cycle, which is, should you buy or should you just rent and invest your money in the stock market? I've always been a rent and invest person, which is that you live on rent and you invest your money in good, solid, like stock, equity-based investments. What do you believe?
So, I believe actually rent versus buy is probably the wrong debate. It is the real solution is actually rent before buy. So,
Okay.
One thing I've realized about on both the sides of the debate, and it's a very loud debate, and the arguments remain the same, to be honest. The guys who typically are the biggest proponents of renting, most of them are the ones who can't afford to buy a home. Okay? That's what I noticed from the, I won't say scientific study, but a deep enough study. While the biggest proponents of people who say buy, are the ones who've already bought a home.
Obviously, because if real estate prices come down, they will lose a chunk of their net worth, right?
See, many times you buy a home and you start regretting it. And there are too many cases of that, right? But nobody likes to say, mere se galti hua.
So I feel that buying a home to live in, or your first home, or the home that your family will live in, is such a deeply emotional decision because we attach so much to it as a culture. As Indians, we believe that you grow up, you buy a car, but you're really an adult when you buy a house. That is when people start taking you seriously. And so there's this huge emotional, this thing ki ghar khareed lete, apna karo ji. But on paper, if you were to purely just do the mathematics, renting and investing in equity makes far more sense because just the cost of owning a home in India, the tax, the annual property tax, the maintenance that you have to pay, the constant fixing, ye toot gaya, ye karo, ye banao, wo banao. And then by the time your investment has, you paid off your loan, most of your house is outdated now, you want to redo some portions of it. So it does not happen with equity investors. You don't have to do this much kharcha. So I believe that you have to separate it, saying emotionally, I really want to have my own house. And then be clear that you've made an emotional decision and not an investment financial decision.
So I think, maths-wise, you look at it, it's a complete no-brainer. Okay. I mean, how much ever reports you might read that home prices to rise, housing is the best investment and all. Everybody knows it's not true. Buy only when you are satisfied, this is a place I want to anchor myself. I want a permanent home. I want to settle. India, there are 2 ways to get settled. One is get married, one is get a house. Okay? Sometimes both need to happen together.
Unless you do these 2 things, you will always be a youth leader.
Youth leader. Yeah, possible. That's the third category.
Yeah, you'll never be the party president.
So, see, the thing is, in one other cases, I'm seeing a lot of people are buying home Because bachelors don't get homes on rent.
Which single bachelor is buying a home? Yeah.
No, he's not buying a home. वो जा रहा है रेंट के लिए, ठीक है, उसको सब लोग लात मारते हैं, ठीक है. So one tenant is
Still?
हाँ बहुत.
Even if he's working 70 hours for Infosys?
See, the problem is that our definition of landlord's definition of tenant na is like a monolith. A 20-year-old bachelor is the same as a 40-year-old bachelor. ठीक है, पार्टी करता होगा, दारू पीता रहेगा, ये वही है.
It's really a testimony to the stability that women bring into their life. So
I don't know about that, but so one tenant told me a very good thing. He said, Vishal, you know what? The best arguments for me to buy a house has not come from my parents. It has come from my landlord. Because every time when I look to get a house on rent, it's so tough. So I just say, let's get married. Housing will become easy. And I in fact, somebody should do a study on this, that what percentage of people are buying a house for this. But back to renting, wasn't
no. Somebody should, most people are getting married to buy a house.
How? Married to buy a house? No,
but if you were in the market to buy, nobody cares whether you're single or otherwise, right?
Your reason to buy a house is because your rental options are limited. I'm saying that way. Because I can buy a house if I have the money. There's no issue. But why am I buying the house? Because otherwise I have to be a renter. And if I'm a renter, I'm treated like like untouchable.
Yeah.
नहीं यहाँ पे bachelor is not allowed. Society तो रखते हैं ना board पे. Bachelor is not allowed in the society. So that becomes an incentive to buy a home because your rental journey is so tough. Or you get married. Then, okay, you buy a home single or you rent a home after marriage. Those are two good options. You choose what you want to be in. And I think that is a very good, one silent trigger for home buying. In fact, I'd be very curious to know if somebody does a survey that why did you buy a home? Was struggle in renting a home as a bachelor a factor? And if so, how big a factor was that? I'll not be surprised if it'll not be a very small factor. It anchors you to a location. You don't have to go through the hassle of changing homes. You have different hassles. Okay? Like we see in many societies where people are fighting each other, are at each other's throats. Dogs not allowed here, maids not allowed here.
Yeah.
So that's a different battle. But it's a battle. You have to choose which one you want to get into. But I'll tell you the guys who I'm noticing who are really getting deep on is these guys who rent for some time and then buy a home in the same building.
Yeah.
You test the waters. It's like you test driving the car.
Yeah.
So it's I compare under construction and ready. Okay, and people are buying. It's a very curious thing that many of the guys don't want under construction, but when they want ready, I'll stay there for a year and a half.
I'll see how I feel about it. Because a lot of it also has to, like you said, it has to do with the community. And that's been a deeply underrated thing. Because now what happens, and, the conversations we have on this show with child psychiatrists and all of these other things, we no longer live in joint families. And we are very social creatures. Eventually, that building society becomes your extended family. These are the kids your kids are going to be playing with. They'll go into each other's houses. You learn culture from each other. You spend all your festivals together. Your friends will be here. So who forms that community becomes really important. And I know...
So community is the best amenity.
Very well said. Someone will put that in a real estate ad.
I can totally see that. I'll basically claim my patent for it already.
So I've known people who have moved from smaller buildings into newer, bigger buildings and then said, community is not the same. Maza nahi aa raha hai yahan pe. People are not like of the same mindset, or people are not of the same value system that I used to have in my old building. So I feel community is a really, builders will do well to pay closer attention to community and the kind of amenities and the common, how people are going to spend time together.
I think that's, but I think, like you said, it's underrated. But I'll probably surprise if after a while, people will buy homes and projects just not for the swimming pool gym. Just say, यहाँ के लोग बहुत अच्छे हैं.
हाँ, यहाँ के लोग बहुत अच्छे हैं. So actually, the other thing that I noticed, and if you pay attention to people's conversations, कि यार rental yield में इतना मजा नहीं आ रहा है, but if you go to sort of tier 2 India and buy commercial property, shop that you give on rent, or like a cluster of shops that you can give to coaching class, the rental yield on that is much higher. So, for example, if you go to, say, a Nagpur or a Mysore or one of these cities and buy those commercial spaces, you'll be able to get a far higher rental yield.
That's true. I think in those locations, if you have to do commercial, I think that those are the cities to be in. Only thing you have to be wary is that if you're sitting in Mumbai and giving things out in smaller cities, it's a big risk.
Managing this thing is a problem. You need someone there, feet on the ground, who's managing it for you.
You should never leave property
Unattended.
never. Be it land, apartments, commercial, anything. Because it's such a valuable asset that very soon somebody is out to grab it.
So tell me finally, what is most exciting right now for you in the market when you're looking at it? What are you watching?
I'm watching how much the movement on prices, home prices. I think we've started to see that curve go like this. We have something here, I think. So if you notice the ads now, everybody started giving you no stamp duty, no GST, no floor rise. In many cases, they bunch it on the price, but in many times they don't. So it's an effective discount.
Right.
So prices have started tapering off.
Huh.
Some markets will fall more than the others. Okay. The worst market that I see, which will see the most sharpest action, will be actually Bandra. Bandra is baby lower parel. Okay. Well, the buildings will be shorter than lower parel, but everybody's in luxury. There's too much luxury.
Yeah.
And not maybe as much customer demand to support it at this point.
So prices in Bandra will fall, is your prediction?
Yes, I think that will. For the boutique developments, I don't think there's an issue. But for the non-premium players who don't have enough financing, I think for them it will be tough. We'll see a lot of deals that will happen below the radar. We'll see the rise of structured sales, okay, which will not be probably registered. But Vishal will sell to Faye under ABC clause. I'll get my money. You are not a buyer, but you're an investor.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll see the rise of that. Some will fold. I think we should watch out for the distinct possibility that home buyers can get cornered in the next 2 years in their purchase. They'll buy, the project will get stuck. I think that is a very high likelihood. If you just go below the tier 1 now, we'll see many vulnerable projects. Gurgaon will be the most fun though.
Yeah.
It'll be the most fun. I think we'll see many. I think Gurgaon is one step away from a scandal.
Always.
Always, yeah, always.
It's always one step away.
And then the cookie crumbles.
Really, like Greater Noida will be like, haha, this time it's not me.
Okay. Yeah, but Noida's picked up a lot. But you're right. I think Gurgaon,
Yeah.
Noida, I don't know whether it's in the air. I've often thought about it. I ask people that why is it that real estate in NCR is so mischievous?
Dubious, because everything in NCR is dubious, right? It's no, I mean, in the nicest way possible, it is the seat of power of almost everything in our country, and it attracts a lot of power from all the states, and so it has a personality.
Possibly. Like Mumbai also has power, but maybe indirect through money. But I think, I'll give credit where due. That when I follow the actions of developers in NCR, I think Mumbai builders almost as saints, and Bangalore are actually saints. I'll put it that way. So that's what puts it in relative picture.
Prestige onwards then. We're putting Irfan Razak at the top of the pile at this point.
He's built a reputation.
He has built a reputation. All right, Vishal, thanks so much for hanging out.
Thanks, Faye. Good to catch up again with you.
Yeah, I hope we can catch up some more. Thank you.
Bye-bye.